Hola, what's going on? Jorge Manuel here one more time, and this will be my last video of the year. It doesn't look like we're gonna get to the 250 subscribers before I leave on holiday vacations, but let's move on with this video. This video is my top 10 pickups of the year, so stand by for more on that. And as y'all know, help me out with one like, and if you're not subscribed, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel. That would really help me out. So it is really not too late to subscribe and get a chance at that giveaway at 250 subscribers. I'm not going to cap it at 250, mostly because I know that a lot of y'all that are subscribed don't have a public profile to where I can see if you're subscribed to my channel or not. So please go ahead and do that. Okay, just to reiterate, this is my top 10 that I was able to get my hands on. So it's not the sneakers that I really wanted but I took L's on. No, this is the ones that I was actually able to get and the ones that are my favorite for the year. So let's go ahead and start with number 10. Number 10 is a sneaker that I just couldn't leave off of the list. There's just no way that this was going to be off of the list, and they came in at number 10, and it is the Air Max 90 Anniversary in the Evergreen colorway. I hope y'all like the quick on feet of these, and I gotta say, these are some of my favorite Air Maxes in my collection, not only because they are my favorite color, which is green, but they are in the Anniversary family. So what that means is these Anniversary Air Maxes first came out in 2017, I believe. That's when the OG colorways dropped, which was that University Red and the Royal Blue. So I was able to get my hands on the Royal Blues, and they actually sat. The Royal Blues and the Anniversary Red sat for a while. That was back when shoes would sit, but they actually sat. I could have gotten 2, 3, 4 pairs of those, and I regret not doing so. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get these at retail, so I only got 1 pair. But as far as the Royals go, those are going for about 3 times retail now, which is pretty insane for an Air Max 1. But what these Anniversaries have is that they go just like the infrareds that I showed y'all a video ago. They try to approach to the closest they can in terms of the cuts, the specifications, the materials, and that's what they did with these. They're so good. One of my favorites of the year. There's no way this was going to be off the list. One of my favorites of the year, no doubt. And in number 9, I have one of the recent additions to my collection, and it is the Nike Dunk in the Varsity Maize colorway. Take a quick look. All right, so as y'all know, again, this was a recent addition to my collection, and I'm very happy to have these. These are the Iowa Dunks. Also resemble very much the very limited Wu-Tang Clan Dunks that came out a very long time ago, but one of my favorites in my collection. I originally wanted to keep the black laces with these, but man, these yellow laces really pop. They look so good with the shoe. I'm sticking with the yellow laces. And there's actually another dunk that is on the way to my collection that probably would have replaced these, and that is a Nike Dunk Kojp in the Samba colorway, which is a gray and blue colorway. I'll show a quick picture of it right here, but those are on the way to my collection. I don't have them yet, so they unfortunately aren't on the list, but we'll do a special mention on those. All right, y'all, let's move on to number 8 on the list of my pickups of the year, and it is the Jordan 3 in the UNC colorway. This I'm not a huge fan of threes. I do love certain threes. Obviously, I had to have that black cement 3 that came out in 2018, I believe. That one wasn't a must for me. But aside from that black cement 3, the regular cement 3, and the cool gray 3s. But when I saw these, this is such a clean shoe. This is such a dope shoe, and it goes so well in the summer. Unfortunately, we didn't have much of a summer this year, so I didn't really wear them. In fact, look at the soles right there. They're still pretty fresh. I have only worn them like once here in the house, but next spring, summer, hopefully, these will be out in force for sure. One of my favorite pickups of the year. These look so good, such a fresh shoe. Now, I do anticipate these getting pretty dirty very quick, so they're gonna take a lot of cleaning, but very much worth it. These are so nice. Get yourself a pair of these. These are so good. This is another recent addition to my collection. I told you guys in a previous video that this was going to be on this list, and it's very much well deserved. All right, coming in at number 7 on my list, the Air Max 90 in the infrared colorway, or the Air Max 3 in the radiant red. Such a dope shoe. So glad that I got it in my collection. I was gonna always get this shoe, but as soon as I saw this at the mall and I had it in hand, this was a double up for me without a question. These are so good and they look so good on feet. Get yourself a pair of these. I cannot say that enough. Get a pair of these shoes. You will not regret it. Listen to me. Get yourself a pair of these. This next shoe coming in at number 6 is one that still kind of has me on the fence. I do feel like this one probably should be a little bit further up the list. Any other day, these could have been number 5, number 4. It's just today that I'm making this list. For some reason, I got it at number 6. And again, it could have easily been up to number 4. And now that I'm looking at it right now, I'm thinking that maybe it should. But we'll stick with my original decision. And in number 6, it is the Nike Dunk Pro in the Safari colorway. I'm telling y'all, I don't know why this isn't in my top 5. I'm still questioning myself, but these are so good. One of my favorite SB dunks of the year, and there are 2 on this list. There might be 3, I still don't know yet, but however, this lands at number 6, and it is again a very dope shoe. I'm just a sucker for whenever Nike puts these little mini checks right here on the side. I don't know what it is, but whenever I see one of these, it just does it for me. And that's obviously not the only reason why I like these. These have also come in a Nike Air Max. Anything Safari is always a must for me, and then when it came in this SB Dunk, I had to pay resale for it, but I wasn't mad to do so. I got it under 300 bucks, which is pretty good in my opinion. All right, y'all, that was the 6 through 10 in my list of the 10 best pickups of the year for me. Number 5 of my top pickups of the year, it is the Air Max 1 London. This is my favorite Air Max of the year, and I hate to sound like a broken record, but I love my Air Max 1s. Just like I mentioned with the Safaris, I'm a sucker for the mini swooshes, the mini check marks, and the details of this shoe are amazing. It's got corduroy in the back here. It's got, again, the mini swoosh, and it's got like 3 other symbols that are particular to London. Like I believe the river back here, and then there's a couple more here on the medial side and on the lateral side. So I really love this Air Max. It is my favorite Air Max of the year. Okay, let's move on to number 4 on the countdown, and it is a Jordan 1. There is another Jordan 1 on this list, but this one is for sure, in my opinion, the most slept on, the most underrated Jordan 1 of the year. And it seems like more and more people are starting to realize that they're underrated and that they're really good, because if you check out the prices on the resale market, those are going kind of crazy right now, especially for a Jordan 1 that you know, not a lot of people really looked out for. And in number 4, we got the Jordan 1 Zoom Racer Blue. This is such a dope shoe, and I'm not really a huge fan of patent leather, especially on silhouettes other than the 11, but this one, they do it so well on this shoe, and the patent leather is really minimal. You only find it here on the outside of the toe box, and then here on the eyelets portion. You don't really see it anywhere else. In the back, it's more of a clear material, as well as a swoosh, and although the rest of it does look like it could be patent leather, it's not. It's clear material, and this shoe is so dope. It's very comfortable. It's a Zoom, so it uses Zoom technology. It's got the little bubbles in the insole, so it's not as uncomfortable as your regular Jordan 1. Now, if you do decide to pick up a pair of Jordan 1 Zooms, regardless if it's this colorway or any other colorway, I would recommend sizing half a size up, just because of that insole with that Zoom technology. It really brings your foot up a little bit, so you definitely feel it a little tighter, especially right here around the toe box. So if you are interested in Zooms in the future, and I have seen some pretty dope ones that are coming out, definitely go up half a size. But oh yeah, I forgot to show y'all, if y'all haven't seen it yet, this sole is pretty fire too. I mean, nobody ever really gets to see a sole of a shoe for the most part, but just to know that it's there, it's pretty dope. But all around, such a solid shoe. One of my favorites, one that I've definitely wanted to wear very often this year, and unfortunately I just haven't been able to, just because there's nowhere to go. But let's go ahead and move on to the next shoe. Okay, coming in at number 3 is probably the most hyped shoe on this list, and I was very lucky to get my hands on it at retail, and I have to shout out my cousin who was the one that got it for me. So shouts to him for the layup on that. But in number 3, we got the Jordan 4 in the Union Guava colorway. Again, was one that I was able to get at retail. Fortunately, I was not going to pay resale for either Union Jordan 4 just because obviously it's really high of a price, and if I was going to go for any other really hyped shoe, it was going to be something like the Jordan 4 Off-White or the 5 Off-White. I was actually really looking forward to the Bread Off-White Jordan 4 coming up, and they pushed that to next year, so hopefully I can get my hands on that. But I wasn't gonna do that for the Unions, so I'm really glad that I did get them at retail. It's a dope shoe, the details are great, the material is fire, it's premium, but it's just not the colorway that I would have chosen. I would have chosen the black one, although this one was more rare and probably will cost and probably will go for more money in the future. It's just not a colorway that I can see me wearing too often. It is, again, sort of loud, and that's just not my vibe, but it is a dope shoe nonetheless. I'm happy to have it, and even more so at retail. But let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Number 2 on this list is another SB. Unfortunately, there isn't another SB on this list. The other SB that I was going to include in this list was going to be the Atmos Elephant Dunk, and that one is actually on the way here. But just like those Kojp Sambas that are also on the way, I didn't want to include it without having looked at it in hand first. So both of those would have definitely been on this list. I don't know which ones I would have traded in for those, but they would have definitely been on there. In number 2, we got the Nike Dunk SB Chicago. Not only is this a really dope shoe, it is my very first Chicago colorway. I don't own any other Chicago colorways. I don't own the Jordan 1 High Chicagos. I almost pulled the trigger very early on those Spider-Man Chicagos that came out in conjunction with that Into the Spider-Verse movie. I almost had them for, I think it was like $275 or something. And boy, do I regret not getting them back then. This is my number 2. I'm glad to finally have a Chicago colorway, and it is in a Nike SB, which are really in demand this year. So I'm glad to have it. And let's go ahead and move on to my number 1 shoe. So my number 1 is a Jordan 1. Jordan 1s, every time you think that you're fed up with Jordan 1s, they've been coming out with too many colorways. They need to stop. They need to put them on ice for a bit. Every time I think that, and then a new year comes, some more fire colorways come out, and this shouldn't surprise some of you that have been with me for a minute. This is a shoe that I have stated before is my favorite Jordan 1 of the year, and it just so happens to be my favorite shoe of the year. My number 1 shoe is the Jordan 1 Kojp in the Midnight Navy colorway. And I might get some hate for it, but this is a shoe that is another Jordan 1 that is, in my opinion, very underrated. One that I saw everybody reselling as soon as these dropped. I guess a lot of people just didn't like it. In fact, I picked up like 3 other pairs because I know that one day people will wake up and realize that this is a really fire shoe. So I picked up 2 for myself, and I got like 3 others that I'm gonna resell in the future. But this is heavily slept on, especially with these white laces. When you throw on those blue rope laces, it just does not look as fresh as it does with these white laces. It makes all the difference in the world. The materials are great, the leather's buttery. This metallic swoosh here in contrast with the navy just looks so good. And if you haven't seen it in person, take my word for it. This is such a dope shoe. One that if you don't have, I recommend getting now that everybody's sleeping on these, because I promise you, by the end of next year, these are gonna be going for $400 or more. I can see it already. The last Air Jordan 1 that I really liked as much as this one is the Turbo Greens. The Turbo Greens were also heavily slept on, and those are right now going for upwards of $400, $450. If you even have a hint of interest in these, get these now. All right, my friends, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for taking a look. That's gonna wrap it up for me. That's gonna wrap it up for 2020. It's been a great year in terms of sneakers, not so great otherwise, but happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's. I'll see you in a couple weeks. Peace.